I'm here with Cara Sprague, who was an honorable mention at the STS Undergraduate Prize Competition. And Cara, I just want to ask you to please briefly describe your project first.
Sure. So my project was my senior thesis, and I wrote about how emergency medicine became a medical specialty in the United States. And my argument was that the Vietnam War gave the United States an organized set of interlocking practices that were then implemented into civilian medicine. So I divided the argument into 3 chapters. And the first chapter, I talk about emergency medicine in the United States before the war, which was a pretty dismal state. Doctors of really poorly reputation and foreign interns and residents were staffing emergency rooms across the country. Oftentimes they weren't even required to be in the emergency rooms. So nurses had to actually find doctors when a trauma patient came into the emergency room. And as a result, the National Research Council published this groundbreaking pamphlet in 1966 that announced that deaths due to accidents and sudden illness were the 4th leading cause of death in the United States. So they argued that there was something that could be done about this, that these deaths could be prevented. And at the same time that this was produced, the Vietnam War was in full rage, and the military was actually using medical corpsmen and helicopters and an extensive system of hospitals throughout the country of Vietnam to provide immediate medical care to soldiers. And this system that they produced actually was so effective in saving lives. There was a statistic that out of all those soldiers that entered hospitals in Vietnam, 98.5% of them survived. So an incredible survival rate. And my 3rd chapter then is about how these practices were then implemented in the United States after the war. And I conclude with emergency medicine being recognized as a medical specialty in 1979.
Great. Do you see any resonances with what's happening between the other wars that the U.S. is engaged in at the moment, such as Afghanistan or Iraq?
Yeah, so as Vietnam incredibly increased the technology and the tools and medical equipment that were used in the war, Afghanistan has taken that even a step further. Just the types of surgeries that are being done in Afghanistan are so much more advanced from World War II and Vietnam. They just keep improving over time. It's going to be really interesting to see how far we can go with this.
Why do you think your project matters for the understanding of science, technology, and society?
I think this was a very serious issue that faced the American society in the 60s and 70s. Just the numbers of people that were dying due to these deaths, and the National Research Council really made a point that these deaths could have been prevented. So it really just took a medical, scientific topic and technologies that were being produced at the time, like helicopters, IV bags, being able to do blood transfusions in the field in Vietnam. All those technologies combined and then took them and implemented them into civilian life. It just really utilized new technologies and presented them in a way that could really benefit society.
All right.